Not too sure what happened there. You might have just stared at us for 5 seconds before the theme tune kicked in, but welcome, regardless, to episode 70 of FPL Apprentice, still the only podcasting series that delves into the mind of two of the greatest minds to have ever played the game. Number one, a game week one Aina picker, and number two, former world number one, Mr. Matthew Corbridge. Matt, how are you?
I'm good, mate. That's a bold statement for probably both of us. But yeah, good evening. Good to see you, mate.
Argue with the
I'll start
facts.
with
Argue with the facts.
exactly, man. I'll start with an apology. The Blue Yeti is out of action, so I'm using my Mac speaker. So if the sound quality is a little bit poorer, yeah, that's my bad.
We can hear you. We can hear you
Yeah.
okay. I've been using headphones through the entire season, mate. My Blue Yeti hasn't worked for months, so don't
Oh,
worry about that
yeah.
one. But
Screw that. Well, do you rate it as a product, given that they haven't given us that sponsorship?
no, 1 out of 10 doesn't work. Doesn't connect to my laptop, and no sponsorship. Game over. And you?
Uh, I'm going to keep the door open just in case. Just in case. This time
Other
next year, when
mics
we're in the top
are
100s,
available.
we'll be flying, and the sponsorship deals will be coming. But yeah, not using the mic, so yeah, the sound quality is down. Apologies. But game week 27, game week 28, I think we've got a few interesting topics, right? It does feel like a bit of an in-between week with like lack of chips and whatnot. But I think quite a few things happened, right? So, mate, what is the agenda? Last week I started chatting. Oh my gosh! Wow, got a bit of a Sky
I
Sports
have
news
agenda,
functionality
mate.
there. Got a ticker.
Anyway, we'll take that one off. Little ticker. Blue Yeti become the new sponsors. That is fiction. That is fake news. Our agenda, mate. Our agenda. So we're on a bit of a quick one today, really. The big news coming in the middle, but we'll start off as we always do with our Game Week 27 review. See how we both got on. But then the big topics: the amount of red cards, the amount of injuries that took place during the FA Cup for a weekend which had no Premier League action. It really made a difference to how I'm going to be playing FPL going forward. Mateta's
Yeah.
out for a few weeks. Gordon's out banned for a couple of weeks. Cunha's getting at least 3 games, and we've just both bought him in. So a little bit of talking around striker options there ahead of game week 29 and beyond. Uh, a very, very quick chat on game week 28 captain, because really there's only one solution to that. And then finish as we always do. Reveal each for game week 28, and then Matt versus Dave. But yeah, let's jump straight in. Game week 27 review, mate, and we will start with your team as you had the bigger green.
Yeah. So I think that there's a couple of layers. It's like an onion, right? There's a couple of layers we want to unpeel in my game week. So on the face of it, a really nice game week, right? So I got 72 points with a -4 for the transfer, so 68 overall points. That's a game week rank of 519,000. So like a really strong kind of rank there, driven by a couple of players, which means yeah, a big green. So I had a green of 90,000. So yeah, I moved from 430,000 to 340,000. So yeah, all looking pretty rosy on the face of it, and without playing a chip. Now, where it gets a little bit more frustrating, I mean, honestly, like we talk about luck and putting yourselves in the position to do kind of well in FPL. I think generally this year I've played okay. I've played relatively sensible and conservative at times, and then yeah, luck comes and goes and whatnot. I'd say this is probably the outcome we'll talk about in a second. No, I'd say it's a bit undeserved, but I'd say this was a genuine bad move, right? So I came in with this game week with one free transfer. I decided to move both Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins out from -4 for Bowen and Cunha. Right. Cunha's obviously got a red card in his band, and like both those moves were with the game week 29 in mind on that near-term horizon, right? So you can't predict the person getting a red card, right? I mean, obviously Cunha does seem to have a bit of a precedent now to like lashing out and doing stuff. However, you can't really predict that, and like I don't know, maybe some of those advanced models take into account someone's personality traits and flaws, but like you can't really predict that. However, I've preached quite a few times now, and I think you said this last week to me, like you were like, if you don't need to make a move, don't force it, right? So Watkins against Palace and Rogers against Palace, and like Rogers was injured out, but yeah, Canate against Newcastle, like versus Bowen and Cunha. Was there a big upside there, or would it be better to wait for more information, right? Especially given it was a -4. Now, Bowen got his assist, right? So, yeah, kind of happy days. But waiting for more information would have been the call, right? And I think, yeah, we were discussing last week. Yeah, I'll probably roll the transfer and be conservative. I got that fear of missing out when I saw Bowen in your team. I was like, Bowen, it's going to go
It
insane.
did seem delicious. A home to Leicester seemed a
West Ham
real nice
scored
pick.
like more than like a goal for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, right?
Yeah.
So like it was always he always had quite a low ceiling. And yeah, Cunha plays for Wolves again. They haven't got a high ceiling in terms of scoring goals, and like they had a relatively tough game. Getting Ollie Watkins essentially out for a hit wasn't a good shout, and obviously he got an assist, right? So I've lost some points there. So -4 down the transfer, -3 of Cunha versus Watkins, and then Bowen versus Rogers is I think a 4-point difference, given Rogers kind of scored. Then there's the knock-on ramifications now of like the additional transfers I'm gonna have to make. So yeah, all in all, that was like a bit of a dumb decision, right? I'm not going to talk about Nkunku because like I know we spoke about him as an option for
Yeah.
me to move Rogers to Nkunku, but like he got a little bit lucky. I think he had one shot, one goal, so I'm not going to really talk about him too much. But we didn't pick him, but I'll say that we're early. We're not an adopter,
And they
but we're
adopted
early
highlighters.
highlighters. Yeah,
Yeah.
given
You were. I give him nothing but grief. You picked him, not like fair play to you.
yeah. A lot of people do like to just like maybe later in this episode we'll just chat about loads of different options and then do scattergun, and then when one of them inevitably gets points we'll kind of bring back the receipts later and then say
Absolutely.
we've done some good picks. But okay, long-winded, but I made a bit of a dumb decision moving like 2 decent players out for a hit when I did not need to. So that was against like some of the core principles. But there's some positive shoots. Obviously, my team: Pickford, Cole, Gabriel, Trent. So yeah, kind of like clean sheets right through the back. I did bench Canate. That's a bit of a downside, but kind of whatever. Cole got his very unlikely goal. So yeah, got to be happy with that. Across the midfield, lots of returns as well with Fernandez and Bumo, Salah, Palmer blanked. We'll talk about him in a second. Bowen got an assist, and Pedro got a penalty goal. Bit fortunate there, and then Acuna blanked. So yeah, big score. Benched Canate's clean sheet. I would say that Liverpool have been very solid defensively, like for about 6 game weeks now. So I could have probably played him, which was another reason why I should have been maybe a bit more conservative rather than going for that hit. Palmer, I have no regrets captaining him. I think it was the debate
Very
we had
unlucky.
just around how bad Southampton are versus Newcastle. They played Newcastle and Liverpool.
Liverpool played Newcastle, yeah.
Just how bad Southampton are versus Newcastle. And then Palmer's underlying stats were on par with Salah's. So Salah was like, kind of running super hot, yet Palmer was a little bit unlucky. But yeah, I think that confidence probably did show in the games. But I think, Palmer had multiple one-on-ones, right? Lots of like kind of decent assists set up for his teammates. I think he had like expected goal involvement of 1.5, right, for that match. So another day he hauls and like scores a big score. So I think I'm cool. I'm cool with that outcome. And I think people who didn't captain Palmer probably got away with it just based on what happened in that match. I can think of
1.4.
3 1-1s.
Yeah. 3-1. Yeah, 1.4 expected goal involvements, whereas Salah 0.47. So he had like nearly 3 times the amount. Just couldn't do anything with it.
But yeah, like I mean, bit of a dumb move. Like really good week for me, and continues a quite a positive trend for weeks and weeks and weeks where I'm just grinding away. But if I didn't make those transfers, I'd be probably closer to 250k rank, and we'll have some transfers to make some sensible moves, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Cunha is going to probably cost me about -8, -12 points, like in the coming weeks, really. So yeah, I got a little bit excited there. I saw him in your team, saw Bowen in your team as well, who's really the enabler. I saw price change, and I was like, I'm gonna do it, which I know wasn't good decision making, but hey, we all
Sorry if I talked you into it.
Oh, you actually, you to be fair, it was your team that was prompting me. Well, I was saying it was a good move anyway, but I saw your team was especially Bowen. That's a nice move. But you were saying last week, actually, yeah, kind of rolling probably makes a lot of sense. Lone bold. You can't really. I even didn't even consider the FA Cup games this last weekend, which is obviously where Cooney got FA Cup. So that's just like poor play. But yeah, despite those layers and the knock-on effect in subsequent weeks, a positive week. Positive week.
Absolutely, a good green as well.
I'm right behind you now.
Some places. Not far back. Not far back. Well, just before I move on to mine to show you not far back at all. Chips remaining, 4 still in play, wildcard, triple captain, free hit, and bench boost. Any closer to knowing when you're going to be playing one of them?
I think my team structure is heading towards wildcard 31. 31. Then everything else falls off the back of that, really. I don't think any of the news from the week FA Cup fixtures really changes that. I think just my team structure does suggest 31 is a good week to wildcard.
Nice. I might be stuck on that. But yeah, you're on 1805 total, mate. I'm only on 1831, so you're only 26 behind. I had a green arrow, which was cool. So went from, I don't know why I put Greer, I'm not green, but it says green, from 214,000 up to 188,000. So back into the top 200k, still with the assistant manager chip in my pocket, but I don't have the triple captain, of course. But yeah, not a bad week at all, mates. Can't ever complain with a green arrow, and not a bad green arrow at all. The good things that happened, Clive returned. Good to see that. Wissa returned
he was
as
bad
well.
Though, right?
Yeah, it wasn't great. But I'll take any goals and bonus points I can get. I don't think Bournemouth were great in their entirety. Wissa a bit better. Again, he got his goal. Some bonus points with him. Double clean sheet for Liverpool. Always good to see. And then on that coin flip, I ended up going for Salah as captain over Palmer. So plus 3 points there. The bad. I started Robinson instead of Aina. When I showed my team last week, I had Aina on the pitch, decided to reverse that. Robinson then got benched and then came on and got booked. So ended up with 0 points and Aina got his clean sheet. So could have quite easily...
That makes up for some of those random assists he's had.
yeah. But 6 points down, unfortunately, for me there. And then not good to see Evan Nielsen getting minutes last weekend and then starting and scoring in the FA Cup, because it'd be interesting to see if Otara is the one that makes way for him, which you've got to think when Evan Nielsen got taken off in the FA Cup, Otara came on. So you've got to think that's the switch. Or does he throw Otara on the left, bench Brooks for Evan Nielsen? Time will tell.
Yeah.
But it's something I need to be concerned about. So I need to look at that. Transfer-wise, mate, didn't work out in my favour at all. The lap out, he got 1 point. Cunha in, got 2 points. So I'm a point up. But Sarr, who had for weeks and weeks and weeks and delivered absolutely nothing for weeks and weeks and weeks, sold him for Bowen. Bowen got 6. Sarr got 15.
I think it's a bit behind your moves. Though your moves were generally sensible, right? I think any predictor tool or whatnot would probably recommend those moves, and it wasn't for a -4 and Delap was probably the best forward option. Then Bowen was probably the best midfield option outside Salah and Palmer, given he was playing Leicester, right? So that's the difference between mine. Actually, had kind of stupid logic going into it, whereas yours going into had sound logic. So you can't really predict Sarr was going to get 15 points. So I reckon,
absolutely not.
Yeah, yours was a solid move. And obviously wasn't for a -4. So I reckon, obviously. Yeah, Sarr scored, but you can't really predict that. I think you could kind of predict Watkins getting a return. Do you know what I mean? It's I think they're different layers in terms of the moves. Yours were good moves without a positive outcome. Mine were not so good moves
without a positive outcome.
Very bad outcome. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
Because you benched you obviously had Isak who didn't play.
Otara was on the bench.
Yeah.
So he came on and took 2 points, which, it is what it is. Shame to see Isak not play. Could have... I was never going to play one of my defenders first bench. I never do. It's not the way I play the game. I always play my attacking player as my first bench. So yeah, that was that move. Yeah. But overall, mate, I can't complain too much. I'm back into the top 200k. I said last game week with the assistant manager chip, whilst everybody was playing theirs and I didn't have mine active, if I can remain in the top 200k and still have that in my pocket, I've got to see that as a win. So yeah, back in the top 200. Team was in a better place without the Cunha red card. That's given me some headaches, which I'll come on to in a little while about what to do next. Real kick that red card. But the rest, I'm fairly happy with the team. I'll discuss later where my thoughts are because I've got two potential paths here when it comes to playing the assistant manager and my wild card. So I'll get your opinion on it when we do our game week 28 reveals later. But yeah, I can't complain too much, mate.
Oh, looking good. Yeah.
Happy. Let's move on. Strikers. Now, the reason I brought this up, already touched on it. Couple of players that are in a fair few people's teams. People like Mateta, who was due to play Ipswich at home this game week. Sounds as though he's not going to play from Glasner's updates. He's probably going to miss 4 weeks. Cunha been sent off. And these guys were in a lot of people's teams. So what we needed to do is have a look at other striker options ahead of blank game week 29 when you've got now Cunha out, Mateta out, Isaac out, Watkins out, and Gakpo out. So who are the big players that you want in your strike force? Now, we've been texting, mate. I'm quite happy to start at the third one on that list because you have touched with me on potential to get Haaland in. So yeah, what are you thinking there?
Yeah,
that sounded like very judgmental. He's the best striker in the league. No
Well,
question.
Haaland's the best option, right? Look, the stats are way better than everyone else. I'm guessing the stats you got there. What's the goal involvement per 90 is after the last? What's that?
That's the last 6 game weeks.
Yeah, so Haaland's the best by far. I'm surprised by Wood's numbers. Everyone's numbers are actually really good. They're all very good, yeah. But Haaland's the best option, I think. Yeah, captaincy matters, and he's the best captain in game week 29 as well as having a solid game week 30. So, yeah, Haaland's the best option, but obviously costs a lot of money, and it's very hard. Well, a free hit or a wild card to squeeze him in, plus have Salah or Palmer. So I think people have to free up money through one of those guys. But yeah, Haaland's the best one. Like money, no object. Would you say there's any other strikers to consider? I think I'll answer my own question. I reckon Strand Larsen is worth having a debate there, given he's back in the squad now. He's back fit. He's been getting minutes and will presumably play with Cunha being out. I think who else is an option? Marmoush will be option and Evan Nielsen, and I think that's the suite of strikers that you've got to pick from, really. But yeah, I think Evan Nielsen, if he starts, this week, he looks pretty. He'll be looking pretty good for the next couple as well. But yeah, mate, you talked me through the logic of before you got on screen.
These picks. Absolutely. So I am looking at game week 29, looking at who's got the best fixtures. So the way the fixtures work at the bottom, it's the second fixture in. That is game week 29. So Wood's playing Ipswich. Yeah, we all know how poor the Ipswich defence is. Beto is on absolute form, by the way. 5 goals since he's come in for DCL over the last 6 game weeks. Has West Ham at home, Haaland, Brighton at home, and then Wissa, who is on a bit of form as well. Probably underperforming the stats. Should have got 30 points. Should have had just over 3 goals as actually only scored twice. So he's underperforming his numbers. But yeah, basically, I looked at game week 29, thought this is where people are going to need a striker. The big players, as I say, Isaac, Watkins, Gakpo, Cunha, Mateta are all going to miss it. So who has the best fixtures in that game week? And that's who I've thrown up on the screen, taking into account who's showing a bit of form as well. That's why Liam Delap isn't on here, as an example. For me, mate, I've then tried to do it as like price structure as well, right? So Beto is your cheap, 5 million. You're not really going to get a cheaper starting striker than that. And the guy's on a bit of form. Couple of midpoints in your Wissa, probably still quite cheap, but Chris Wood's definitely a midpoint. And then Haaland, if you want to go that way. Personally, mate, I don't think I can get there. I'll lose 500,000 value in Isaac, and he'd be the one that I'd have to sell to get to Haaland. And I'd also have to probably sell Salah, and I'll lose a fair chunk of money in him. So on that point, what if you do get Haaland? I appreciate you probably have to sell Salah. You've already sold Isaac, so that doesn't really matter too much to you. But you're bothered about losing that value in players to enable it.
No.
No,
not really.
I might overthink that. because I always think to myself, well, I'm going to want to get Isaac back for game week 32. So if I sell him now, I'm going to have to buy him back
If you
within
do it
2
on
game
mass,
weeks.
then it's an issue. Like if you're just doing one player, it's like what? It's a 0.4 difference, big deal.
Okay. So I might overthink that. Because I'm
Like there's
constantly
lots
conscious
of
about him.
value though. There's lots of value, right? That is the difference between Pickford and Flecken. That's the difference between any number of defenders, right?
Yeah.
That's a non-starting fullback. That's a Van den Berg when he's back. I know he's injured now, or Greaves and a fifth
Just stand.
4.5 million defender. Don't matter, does it?
It's a bench option, is what you're telling me.
I mean, it's easy to find money in your squad now, especially this year. Unless people like adamant to have Salah, Palmer, and Haaland for the running, and Trent for the running, then I think it's easy to find money in the squad.
So yeah, okay, I'm with you. So are you still thinking of going that way, mate? Getting
We'll
Haaland?
talk about it. We'll talk about it a bit. I've got two routes,
Yeah.
which probably cover three of these strikers. Yeah, I've got routes that can get me Wood and Beto. I've got a route that can get me Haaland and Semenyo probably. So yeah, both appealing for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mid price. I think Wood is the best mid price. Obviously, like ignoring this week alone, Ipswich and United for the 29-30 is a lot more appealing than Bournemouth and Newcastle away for Vissa. So yeah, I think Wood is the best mid price. I was aiming for Wood for quite a few weeks. That's why I got Cunha. I was going to have a strike force with Pedro or Beto, Wood and Cunha. But yeah, I can't. Unfortunately, I can't get Haaland and Wood into my team without like some major surgery.
Not mine would. It seems like quite an easy get to from Cunha's price, 6.9 million. I can sell him for. I'm assuming you're similar, so you need
Yeah,
to
I mean,
find
like for a lot of Cunha owners, don't overthink it. I think people overthought when they could have got Woods at different inflection points in the season, right? We're saying
like
he's
us.
lucky. He's
Definitely
been
me.
the luckiest player this year. I think he's overperformed his stats by 60 points.
Is it? Wow.
But I'll see. I'll validate Matt. If you chat for a second, mate, I'll put a post I saw.
Yeah. Well, I suppose over the last 6 game weeks, you can see he's expected to get 33 points and he's ended up getting 47. So just over the last 6 game weeks alone, he's 14 points ahead of where he should be. You know, he should have had 3 goals, has actually scored 5, should have had just over 1 assist, has got 2. But as you say, man, he's been doing it, he's been punishing my rank all season. So he's just it's like Son's always done it, right? Son's always overperformed his expected goal involvement, and Chris Wood's just having one of those seasons.
For sure. So great account. So it's Lukash, but yeah, at F_analytics. So they did a post earlier today, which looked at top expected points by position for the whole year, defenders, midfielders, and forwards, and then also gave a view of. So these are the big hitters essentially, but then gave a view of which ones have got the most points versus their expected points. Right, so interesting names, yeah. But Wood is by far the biggest overachiever versus his stats. So his expected, the difference between his actual points and expected points 52, and that's expected points based on what happens in the match. It's not some kind of random algorithm saying that. So that's kind of like what actually matters, right?
Lethal is what I'm hearing.
52,
Absolutely
yeah, that's
lethal in
mad.
front of goal.
Next best is then Cunha, which I think I can see some of that. I'd say Cunha is more down to skill and ability versus Wood, but who knows? Yeah, Salah, unsurprisingly, given the season that he's had, and Bumo, Cliver, what else we got? Luis Diaz. Yeah, so like kind of names you would expect. Guys that are really underperforming. You got Andy Robertson, you've got Anthony Gordon, you've got Haaland. Yeah, so interesting account, really good account. I like the stuff they post. But yeah, Wood is the biggest overachiever by some margin. However, even about the overperformance stuff, he's been doing good, and he's been doing very good recently as well. And those are some nice fixtures, and it's very obvious to pick him.
Yeah.
I think in your structure, like I don't know
Yeah,
why
mate.
you would not go there.
I'll
You should have
be,
gone.
and this at this.
You've had one or two options, when you could have gone him, and he's like gone on to do really
I've
well.
dodged.
I wouldn't
He's
overthink it.
caught me. He's caught me a lot. So I'll tell you the two options on the next screen, the screen after. We're going to touch very quickly on captain choice for 28, but there's really only one choice. But yeah, so, okay, bearing in mind budget, mate, right? Which I know is very difficult to answer this question when you've got to bear in mind budget, because Haaland's obviously the best of the bunch. But taking into mind budget, rank them 1 to 4.
I don't think you can. They're so different.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Yeah.
You at the price points, Haaland's is a unique situation if you want the best captain in 29.
29. Yeah.
And a good fixture in. There's a knock-on effect, but Leicester at home is a really appealing fixture given his underlying stats. Salah does have Everton at home, so if you have to get rid of him, then that's something you're going to make bet that you're captaining Haaland for game week 20 and 29 and game week 30. Yeah, Beto's the best cheap option. Wood is the best mid-price option. I don't think you can compare that.
There you go. And the one that I've got, Wissa, obviously, sticks.
Yeah, he's in between. Yeah, he's perfectly good, and but like I think if that price point, you'd
if you can stretch it. It's tough, isn't it? It is tough.
Those fixtures aren't easy, but like I think
no, they're not.
And the medium, depending on when you're playing chips, I think even their like medium long term run is very tough. So yeah, I'm less on this. I just Semenyo is better than Visser. Not Semenyo, sorry. Yeah, Evan Nilsson.
Nice. Well, there you go. I'll note to self, sell Wisser. Touch on captain. I can't. I've sat in my bed with him. I'm stuck with him. Yeah, this will be a very quick one, Mason, because it's who's the best captaincy option. Unsurprisingly, considering he is playing Southampton at home, who are one of the worst defences in the league. He has expected points of 11.3 for the game week. It is Salah. If he matches that, mate, by the way, if he gets 11 points for this game week, he will hit over 300 FPL points with 9 games to play. That is an insane season. If he gets 11 points, he'll get 302, which will be 1 point behind his own record of 303, the most points a player's ever scored in an FPL season. King of FPL?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
No question.
I think I've enjoyed individual players more from an FPL point of view, but yeah.
He's the Egyptian king, not that unbiased. The only caveat with Salah this game week, right? Liverpool are 13 points clear in the league. They have a game against PSG midweek. They have a game against PSG the following midweek. This is sandwiched in the middle. Do you have any concern about Salah's minutes?
No. He's played 90. There's been plenty of games when he could have been subbed off when they're like 3-0 up. He just stays until 90 every single time, right? So yeah.
Yeah, he does just seem to get minutes after minutes, and he's fit enough to just had a week off. I should point that out. Obviously, Liverpool didn't partake in the FA Cup after the Plymouth exit, so they've had a 7-day rest. So I'm with you. I think he's had the break. He doesn't need it, and the guy is hungry for records. He will want to be on the pitch. And when your best player says, "I want to be on the pitch," you play him, right? So I'm with you. I'm Salah through and through. Palmer a fair way behind for me. Can you see why people might go Palmer?
No.
No, fair play. Salah it is. Okay. Looking at team reveals, we're both hinted at thoughts, but we'll start with you, Mace.
Yeah, so going into game week 28, I've got 1 free transfer. Team looks okay, but one player. But yeah, we've mentioned how bringing Cunha Bone from -4 was a bit of a silly decision. It's kind of got a few knock-on effects. So my team's lined up. There's Pickford in goal, Colwell, Gabriel, Trent Canate as a 4-man defence. I'm playing a 4-5-1. You don't see that often, right? Bowen, Palmer, Salah, and Bumo Fernandez in midfield. And then got João Pedro against Fulham, who I'd prefer to be benched. I think Welbeck gets to start that game and Pedro comes on, but fine. I've got to play like that. And then I've got a rotten bench of Fabianski, Cunha, who's banned, Vandenberg, whose injury now looks more serious than first. I think he'd struggle to get back into the team actually. Like Brentford have been quite solid defensively since he's been out coincidentally, and Stewart for Southampton, who's again injured. So yeah, terrible bench there. I probably got a non-starter in João Pedro. So not ideal, but the rest of the team I think was pretty good. There's a lot of good teams against easy opposition there. A lot of home fixtures. Although home and away, I think there's been some analysis this year. It's not been working. Away fixtures have been better, yeah, for the first time in years and years. But I'm still an advocate of home versus away. I've got a role really. I think I just going to accept that Pedro Main probably won't start and kind of just run with it. I think I've learned my lesson of being hasty with my moves and doing -4s before it's absolutely needed. So I'll kind of roll. The options and routes and pathways that I've got to consider. If I was making a move this week, it would force me down one certain route versus the other. So I want to kind of keep my options open. So really going into game week 29, there's two options here. One is Cunha to Chris Wood. If I brought Chris Wood in this week, I'd start him against City versus João Pedro for sure. Bring Cunha for Wood and then move Stewart, my non-playing Southampton player. I can move him to Beto, for example. Right?
How much have you got in the bank? Got a fair chunk?
Nothing.
You do Cunha to Wood?
Oh yeah, good point. I'm saying nothing as if I don't think I have much, but like I may actually have literally.
If you've got 0.3, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So I can just afford it. I can just afford it. But like I'm gonna wait. That's gonna force me down a certain route. But if I went down that route, it would be my front line would be João Pedro. Come next week, it would be João Pedro, Wood, and then Beto probably for. I don't think I'd be able to actually get Beto, would I? So yeah, if it forces me down a certain route, that's I guess non-ideal. So yeah, actually that's kind of revealed that that's a really bad route. I'd have to probably move Canate to 8 Nori or something like that to kind of fun moves and whatnot. So talking out loud, that's not a great route. Not a great route for me.
Glad I could help.
In the indirect way. The other route I'll be taking is Cunha to Haaland and Salah to Semenyo. So I think you just by those names it sounds better, and then I'll have the best captaincy option for game week 29 covered in Haaland. And yeah, Haaland could come and convert his underlying stats. Salah could regress a little bit, who knows? And Salah versus a blank and Everton home. Is Haaland against Brighton at home and Leicester home better? Yes. Obviously, it's the loss team value. So I think that's where I'm heading towards, which is can keep 2-3 transfers the next week. Cunha moves to Haaland and Salah probably moves to Semenyo. I think just because of the certainty. Bournemouth had a really nice game week 30 fixture there. I think they play Leicester or one of the promoted teams at home. And Semenyo's just the best player, right? He's the minutes king for that team. So I think that's why I'd go him over another option. What it means for game week 30, I know we're talking about game week 28, but yeah, going into 29, sorry, what it means is I'll probably have 9 starters and then there'll be some question marks, right? So I'll have a defence of Pickford who starts. I'll have Colwell who plays Arsenal, Gabriel against Chelsea, of course. Then Vandenberg, who's injured indefinitely. So yeah, he's not going to play. So I'm down a player there already. Bowen, great. Palmer, great. Semenyo, great. Mbuma, great. Fernandez, yeah, he's got a nice fixture against. He'll probably be my vice captain. He'll be playing Leicester. And then a front 2 of Pedro, who won't start, but will probably get minutes. He'll come in for 1 point, and Haaland. So yeah, I've got 9.5 starters. I can live with that. I don't think it's worth kind of moving like a really cheap defender to an 8 Nori. Like I'll live with that. But that's the lesson of me just like being hasty with my transfers. If I didn't bring in Bowen, if I didn't bring in Cunha last week when I didn't need to do it, would have a lot more flexibility this week. I could have actually probably got rid of maybe a luxury move, but maybe got rid of even Palmer if I wanted to do that to fund Haaland if I wanted to go down that route. But who knows?
That'd be gutsy ahead of a Leicester at home game.
It's funny when something just happens, and it has so many ramifications of the direction you can take moving forward. This could come off because I probably wouldn't have gone down Haaland if Cunha didn't get the red card. If I kept my powder dry and not brought him early, I'd probably have a forward line of Wood, Pedro, and Beto. Like I said, this kind of forcing me down that Haaland route, which is a little bit more adventurous. But yeah, it could pay off.
It's
So
fun.
yeah, it'd
Yeah, absolutely.
be interesting. Like I think for you and I, good that we'll be branching off in different directions a little bit. So yeah, I'm happy with that team. I mean, Pedro. It looks like they're managing Welbeck's minutes. So Welbeck could easily come on after 60 minutes, 65 minutes, or if he does start, I'm quite confident Pedro will come on. Pedro could still
Yeah.
start. I know like Rutter is playing really good, like Jorginho / Rutter, he's playing really good, but Pedro could easily start as well. So
He was
we shall see.
there for the pretty much the entire 120 minutes in the FA Cup, was he not? Pedro came on. No, sorry, started. Welbeck then came on. Pedro got the assist for the winner, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think
yeah,
Pedro
you can
came
both
off
play
for a while
together.
back, didn't he?
Did he? I thought Pedro got the assist. It shows you how much I was watching. Liverpool aren't in that cup, so I don't pay much attention once Liverpool are out. But yeah, you could be right. Maybe it wasn't Pedro that made the pass. But the points just to spell it out again.
Solly March got the
Team
assist,
value on
which
March. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah.
so
March. I knew
yeah,
what I was talking about.
Pedro played the full 120. So yeah,
Aye. Yeah.
he got the first assist, but Rutter came off Welbeck, so they were playing two front. Like Pedro played as the 10. So there's options there. I think he's a decent player. He's going to get minutes, especially with Welbeck being seemingly managed. So he could start.
Yeah.
He could play as the 10 instead of Rutter. He could play as a front two with Welbeck. I think he'll come on. So I'm. It's not optimal, but I'm cool with having him.
You think 9 players or 9.5 players, as you put it, that doesn't warrant a free hit? Like what? Just for other people that might be in a worse position than that. Like what's the minimum number of players you'd want to play before you free it?
It's what players, isn't it? It don't matter. It's what players.
Okay.
So I'm talking about Vandenberg not playing. 4.0
Yeah.
defender. Who else could I get? I could get rid of Trent, whatever, for who? 8 Nori.
Yeah.
Of course, he could assist and get 12 points
Yeah.
and a clean sheet and could get assist, but what's his predicted points for that week going to be? 3? 2? Probably about 2.5, right? What's the point?
So you'd rather just play the 9, take no hits.
Yeah, no, yeah, and there's not a number. There's not a number on it, right? I think it's have you got decent options covered? You've got some decent firepower.
Yeah.
I mean, you're less if you're like 7 or less, then it's a bit concerning, right? But
That's lack of planning, right? Lack of planning. So we'll call that 7 or less, free it. You heard it here. That's exactly what Matt just said. 7 or less. Put words in your mouth.
That'd be the quote.
Yeah. But I like
Also,
your team,
get
mate.
that Haaland content out. It's been quite quiet on Haaland. Get that content out. And when
I'm on it.
wow, the guy who scores 30 plus goals a season, we called him as a good option. Well done us. This is
You
me just
thought
like being like a bit sarcastic, a bit there where like people just like scattergun their options and they're just super obvious and they pat themselves on the back when they're getting it.
well, I'm gonna label a video something along the lines of why the former world number 1 says now's the time for Haaland to return. That's a bit mouthy. I'll work
I
on
like
that
that.
later.
Yeah, I like that.
But it'll be along those sort of lines.
So I'm saying that. What are you saying?
I am saying this is my team, game week 28. So I have 1 free transfer, 0 in the bank. I am going down one of 2 routes, mate. So I think it's probably going to be the same as you. I think roll makes the most sense, but I'll talk you through the 2. For those that are listening as opposed to watching, I've got Becker in net, Allison, Trent for the double Liverpool, Gabriel, and then I'm probably going to start Mikalenko. He's away at Wolves, whereas Robinson away at Brighton and Aina are home to City seem more likely to score. I'm thinking there Mikalenko's away at Wolves, yeah, but they're losing Cunha, so a big part of their firepower's gone. Mikalenko also popped up with an assist last weekend, so probably play him. I'm then playing Cliver, Palmer, Bowen, Salah, and Utara. Now, to be honest with you, mates, I'm not overly happy with Utara. I think Evan Nielsen might get the start. In an ideal world, I was benching him and Cunha was playing until Cunha's red card, and that would have been an easy roll. And then got Wissa and Isaac up top. Isaac came off in the FA Cup, but Eddie Howe followed up just to say it was tightness. He doesn't think he's injured. So I feel fairly confident he'll probably start. He's got a bit of a break between now and then without Newcastle being in Europe. So that's this screen, mate. And then I kind of noted. So it seems like a roll, right? Here's my chip strategy, and this is I need to make the decision this week. Okay. So my assistant manager is messing me up, if I'm honest.
Why do you make it this week? I'll challenge that, because if you want to make one transfer is worth 4 points, so why can't you reverse out of that?
So my issue is if I want an assistant manager in game week 31 and get the single game week in 31, double game week 32, double game week in 33, it means I have to wildcard in game week 30 if I want to make the most of the Newcastle double and the Palace double. We'll also know the other double by then. So it forces my hand to play a wild card in game week 30. I could use transfers to try and get in.
30 is quite a bad week to do it.
Yeah, I'm not overly keen on it. Ideally, mate, I want to play it in probably 35.
Yeah,
I think really set myself up for that bench boost.
Because I think then you'll have certainty of like fixture announcements and another round of FA Cup done now.
So I think it is out by the time game week 30 kicks off.
Okay.
The FA Cup will have been played.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of eyeing that up. I can't play it in 31. I've kind of sneaked myself. Unless I go option B.
You had back-to-back Glasners just staring at you, right?
Single games, I want to. Single games. I was being greedy with the double game week fixtures.
That tells you that it doesn't really matter, doesn't it? Like, I think you can be flexible. This is not really impacting who you bring in, though, right?
So for this game week, it would. So if I want to go for option A, I'm then going to probably, because I'm going to be wildcarding in game week 30, I can take a 2-week punt. So what it means is I'll probably sell Cunha and I'll bring in Beto because he's got Wolves and then he's got West Ham. And I'll just play him for the 2 game weeks. If I want to be a bit more, but it does mean I don't get Wood because I can't afford Wood on one transfer. If I play option B and I think, right, I'll roll it, I'm quite happy with Wood's fixtures in 31 and 32 and so on and so forth, unlike Beto. I'd end up rolling it this week, and then in game week 29, I don't have a starting keeper. So it means I'll sell Becker for somebody. And then it would allow Cunha to Wood. I think I'm leaning towards that option, if I'm honest with you, mate.
I think you still have flexibility regardless. I think you're overthinking it a little bit.
Yeah. Roll. I think roll's the right answer for this game.
Roll's the best answer. Yeah, no, again, you don't really have a captaincy option for 29, so probably Wood is the better option. Wood and a decent keeper. Yeah. No, you won't be able to get a keeper.
Yeah, and I think that's Wood and Wade Ipswich.
Oh yeah, you'd get Beck would be downgraded to Jose Sarr, presumably, who's like Wolves are looking quite solid. He's like 4.3, and you get Wood as captain. So, I mean, that's the better route.
Yeah, and then that'd probably follow me on to.
And you don't have to keep Wood. Like you don't have to. Once you don't have, you can still wildcard in 30.
True, but then I'll bring him in for 1 game week only. I'm trying to hold the wild card till 35. And in all honesty, no game week 20, game week 32. Right, I'll bring back to this one. Ignore that, the rest of my chips. Game week 32. Newcastle played twice. Palace played twice. Palace's fixtures are Newcastle away and Man City away. How many Palace players do you think are needed?
I'll
tell you who I'm on. I'm on Mateta and Mateta only. Don't feel like I'll go anywhere else. So the fact that I've still got Isaac is a real plus point for me because it means that's one transfer I don't need to deal with between now and 32 if I want to keep the wild card till later. So I'll bring in Mateta. There's one. Gordon will be back after a suspension by then, so I'll probably bring in Gordon. And then I've got my assistant manager chip to play in for that game week as well. So I'll probably bring in a Howe or a Glasner. So I'll cover myself with 4 if I can. That seems sensible.
Yeah. Well, yeah. keeping hold keeping hold of some of your transfers is sensible then in that case, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that might be my route. Roll this week. Hope Otara gets to start ahead of
The
Nielsen.
Beto move has got there's absolutely no point of bringing it. Like,
Yeah.
who would you wouldn't even play him?
This week I would. I'd drop Otara. But it's forcing it. I don't need to do that.
No, exactly.
It's not
It's just forcing. You can come back. You can come back to him next week if you really want him.
yeah, which I don't. From 30 basis, fixtures are horrific.
It seems like you really
So
want him.
no, it'd be a 2 week punt. But yeah, I think I'll roll. I think I'll
Yeah.
roll with a uh boring one we both roll in it. But Matt versus Dave, so to stop the boringness, mate. Check this out. It is 11 each. It's like we planned it. It is 11-11, keeping it exciting till the end of the season. I thought I was doing well with a little Enzo pick. He had a couple of shots, managed to get a clean
Yeah.
sheet point for 3. Kudus got an assist for me. I was like, I've got a return. Always hard when it's 5% or less. 9 points for me. But then Beto for you. Sorry, Beto. I got Beto on the brain. Bowen for you matches Kudus. But look at that. Neto with 11 points. Both your players return. 17 points for you, taking it to 11-11. You've got to be happy with that one.
No, happy with that. Like, and I guess that was the logic why. Were you considering Cuckoo or just me?
Just you.
Yeah.
Never trusted the guy.
Yeah, I think the bet there was like Neto was going to play as the forward, right? And Cuckoo would play in this weird left wing position, and that's what happened, right? So I think we can be vindicated there. But yeah, happy with that.
Absolutely.
Big score.
And the good news for you is not only is it now 11 each, you get to go first.
Which doesn't always work. Doesn't always work.
No.
Right. Can you remember, mate, what I shared
I
with you?
think Soboslai is top of your list.
Yeah. Got to be. He's in a good form, right? 2 back-to-back double-digit hauls, playing super forwards with good underlying stats in, I think, a proper 10 position now. I'm not going to get into tactics. Some people might say a forward 8, whatever, but he's playing pretty forward. Yeah, back-to-back double-digit hauls, been looking good for like the medium term, and yeah, that Southampton game could be like 7-0, couldn't it? So yeah,
He's looking
so
very
it was
good.
like,
He's looking very, very good. Been impressed with him. I watch Liverpool weekly. I've been very impressed. So he would have been my first pick. Unfortunately, you beat me to it. Only 4% owned, by the way. 4%. That is a. Now you're not going to bring him in this week because they blank in game week 29, but for the rest of the season, could be an option. Okay, so you've took Soboslai. I'm going to pick somebody you picked last week, and that is Neto. 2% owned. He's got 4 returns in the last 3. He's playing Leicester at home. Need to say more.
no, he's looking good. I like Neto as a player as well. He's a good player outside FPL. Yeah, I've got to target that game as well. So I will switch with you and go with Enzo, who you picked last week. Again, he's playing pretty forward. He's playing as a 10. You'd think that they'd keep the same formation and squad as last week.
Yeah.
He'll be playing in a pivot because it's just like an easy game. Yeah, he starts every game. He's been unlucky the last couple of weeks. He got returned the week before last, but last week he was unlucky to get a return. He's been having really good underlying stats. So I think Fernandez is a good little pick. So
Yeah, agree. Absolutely agree. This one's based on fixture and very recent bias, right? I'm gonna target Crystal Palace. They are playing Ipswich at home. Is Sarr back on form? He's just got 2 goals in his last game. I hate the pick, if I'm honest with you, mate, but it's him or McAllister or Nkunku or Robertson. And I think,
no, I like that. I like that.
yeah, I'm going to go for Sarr. We'll target the fixture, 2.2% own. It'll also make me feel slightly better, the fact that I've sold him very recently. If he returns and gets me to win Matt versus Dave. So for that reason, I will pick Sarr. So I feel like this is pretty good. Soboslai and Enzo for you, Neto and Sarr for me. I feel like that's quite a nice
No,
little
solid,
battle.
yeah.
Happy with that. So we'll see who can take the lead and go 12-11 up. But that brings us to the end, Matt. Nice easy one today. Fixtures, strikers, plans, bang, done. Mic drop.
Yeah, Cunha, flipping out that guy.
Red
There's,
cards messed everybody
I
up.
think,
Messed
I
us
think
all up.
what was the best was it was like obviously yeah it's extra time, but it was the 120 minutes
20th.
of extra time as well.
I'll
Damn.
be very surprised if it remains a 3, by the way. Did it
No,
it's
it'll
like
be
proper
upgraded. It'll be upgraded to a
yeah,
5, if not more. But like,
yeah.
you can't make that up, can you?
Yeah,
Oh
mental.
well,
Gordon
we
as well. I know neither of us have Gordon, but I mean, it is.
we
I don't
learn, and
how. Go on,
yeah,
sorry, mate.
no, I think the positive is it could open up some interesting pathways for both of us. You could end up with Chris
Yeah,
Wood for the first time in the season, for a nice Ipswich
correct.
game. I could end up with Haaland for two nice home games potentially for Man City. So yeah,
Correct.
there could be a silver lining there.
I was meant to say game week
But
29
what might
based on
happen?
my no, but it's I should end up with 11 players still benching Isaac,
Yeah.
Salah, Trent. But one of those players will be Otara, so hopefully he's still getting minutes by the time that game week
Oh,
starts. What
he'll get
happens
minutes,
to my
which is not
camera?
an issue.
What happens to my camera, mate? It's gone all funny. Good job we're at the end because I've gone fuzzy for some reason. Don't know why. But yeah, oh, there you go. It's better. But yeah, I'll take any fixtures, any minutes he gets. But the rest of the tension starts. So I'm still feel it's a decent place. Can you, if you're listening, you're an idiot. Other than that, yeah, he did me well earlier in the season, right? So I can't be too upset with him. But yeah, time will tell. But I'm quite excited for the game week to come, mate. Game week 29's been in the plans since game week 24. We first started talking about it. So it'd be good to get here, good to get it out the way, and then the chip season really begins.
Exactly. And divergent strategies, which is always nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. But yeah, we'll pick up next week. It's a standard week, isn't it? Game week this weekend, game week 29 the following weekend, and then there's a third decent break between that and the following fixture, thanks to the FA Cup, and I believe the international break kicks off at the end of March. So we'll discuss that later, but otherwise we'll pick up next week, Matt. Appreciate your time this week, as always, my friend.
good stuff. My pleasure.
And to you, the listener, thanks for joining us. Hopefully, you've learned something. As we always say, if you have, please give us a like. Please give us a subscribe. It means other people can find us as well. Help them out, but just helps me and Matt. It's free to do. So if you could do that for us, that would be great. But thanks for your time. Whatever you do, may your arrows be green, and we'll catch you on the next.